Hello, hope you're keeping well, hope your family's well in these difficult times. During this whole pandemic, I, just like everybody else, haven't been attending Manchester City's first team games. The last one I attended until the FA Cup tie at Cheltenham was the derby at Old Trafford in March of 2020. Now, I've done some work recently for Sony TV in India, covering Champions League games and the FA Cup, for which they have rights. But it's been all at home via Skype. But for the Cheltenham game, I was able to go down there, which was a great privilege for me to actually attend a game. And although this vlog isn't sponsored anymore, I thought I'd do something behind the scenes to give you an insight into what it's like as a fan. It's perhaps not what you expect. And I can tell you from personal experience that it's not as enjoyable as being there when the ground is full. However, I hope this is something that you can take something away from, really, i.e. a bit of reality, because this is my video from Cheltenham. What a strange experience this is. For the first time since last March, I'm going to a Manchester City first team game down in the FA Cup at Cheltenham, and I'm travelling on my own, of course. That's not my car, by the way, in the background. I'm travelling on my own. I'm going there because I'm a working journalist. I'm working today for Sony Sports in India, covering the game for them, which is interesting for me to do, and hopefully that'll lead to other things in the future. But it's still a very, very strange feeling, because there's a little bit of me that's quite, I wouldn't use the word excited. There's a bit of snow coming down as well now. I wouldn't say excited, but I am genuinely pleased to be back at a game, especially because it's a new stadium, Cheltenham, that City have never played at before. But equally, this is not a normal experience. I mean, there's no fans travelling down here today. As I say, I'm completely on my own. I know that when I get to Cheltenham, I'll be sat away from everybody else, wearing a mask while the game's on. It just will feel surreal. And although I've attended other games during this pandemic because of my job as a sports journalist, this one, the first team game, is particularly strange. I don't know how to put it any other way, really. I understand all of the different restrictions that there are and why they're in place, but the joy that I normally feel going to a game is not quite the same today. Today is just a job. That's what it is. It feels strange now to be in Cheltenham, at Cheltenham Racecourse, where one of the last mass crowd events took place just before the new world that we now live in, the pandemic world, started to take a bite. Thousands and thousands of people were in that grandstand behind me to watch the racing out into the countryside. Very well-known racecourse. Of course, today there'll be no crowd at Whaddon Road, the Johnny Rock Stadium, when City play there in the FA Cup. How times have changed. Yeah, you're going to check the temperature now, aren't you?
Yeah, I certainly am going
See if
to.
I'm alive.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh no, it's come up as an error. Can I do your wrist? It is actually easier to do your wrist.
All right, yeah, no problem. There you go.
What's your name, young man?
Ian Cheeseman.
What's your role in all of this?
A reporter.
Oh, never mind. If I looked on the walking, it would probably be helpful, wouldn't it? Lovely, 32.1.
You're obviously one of those people who looks after our health, which we're very appreciative of. What does a game like this mean to you then? Are you local?
I'm very local. I live about 3/4 of a mile up the road, so in real times I can hear the cheers if I'm at home. When
Will you get into the ground, or is your role only to test people's
No.
temperature?
We'll be in the first aid post. We'll be looking after. If you fall over and cut your finger, we'll be looking after your cut finger.
And I suspect, tell me if I'm wrong, that you're giving out vaccines and stuff, because you're from the St John's Ambulance, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a vaccinator trainer at the moment, so I'm not actually doing the vaccinations, but yes, St John has got a massive input into that.
Well, listen, thank you for the work you do. Who's going to win today?
Oh, Cheltenham, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got to keep the hope up.
There is no question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is an irony. I just went to Cheltenham Racecourse on the way here, that Cheltenham was one of the last big crowds, and here we are now. Are you getting used to this empty stadiums?
No, to put it bluntly, you never get used to it, and it's a real shame, as it was for Chorley last night, that you can't have kind of the full home support, because that is the magic of the cup. But I was speaking to the Cheltenham manager ahead of this game, and he said kind of the money that they will get, and from TV and from the fundraiser that City fans have helped with, will help kind of make them financially secure for the next few years, which is as important, because as a result of the pandemic, there's no money coming into the club at all. So it's nice that there can still be kind of some magic for them even before they kick the ball.
I think City fans have contributed over £40,000 so far, which is spectacular. Right, enjoy the game here at Cheltenham. Here we are then inside the stadium. Pep's just doing a piece pre-match there to TV, presumably BBC television. But that's a look at the ground inside. There's a big City banner been put up there, the Cheltenham and Gloucester Blues. Pat, who I think basically runs them, has put a Cheltenham and Gloucester flag in that stand as well, which is very visible. I don't know if that'll come across on television. It's a tight little ground. I've been here before. Now there's Pep just walking past, going back towards where the dressing rooms are for the City team, which are at that end of the ground. It's not dressing rooms really, it's more of a social club. He said in the press conference before the game, the only thing he objects to would be if they put alcohol in there, because he doesn't want his players to be tempted to have some alcohol. I don't think they would do that anyway. Very professional. You've got to set the pitches in perfect condition, so whatever the result of today's game is going to be, that won't be an excuse. Well, as you can imagine, because I'm here as a professional journalist, I've just been using that to talk to the people, the City fans in India ahead of this game. It's a big game over there as well, of course, huge audience. But now I can concentrate on watching the game, two teams out behind me. I would expect City to win this quite comfortably, but the great joy of the FA Cup, not if you're a City fan, mind you, are cup upsets. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, I think it's going to be a real tough game today against a team who've got nothing to lose really. Well, that was quite a game, wasn't it? At half-time, I must admit, I was a little bit worried. The City players in midfield, I thought, were giving up too much ground. The changes had to come in the second half. Ilkay Gundogan, who's been a very impressive performer this season and probably my player of the year, made a difference. So did João Cancelo. Obviously, we saw that great pass by Fernandinho and Gabriel Jesus, who was just onside, scoring that goal. But the ball through in the finish by Phil Foden was probably the one that turned the game. And then a very typical City goal at the end with Ilkay Gundogan squaring for Ferran Torres. The scoreline probably doesn't reflect the game in the truest possible sense, but City are through. The experience of being here, though, is just as interesting for me, because it's been my first game behind closed doors, because I've been working for Sony TV in India, which has took up a lot of my time this afternoon, but I've been able to watch the game at close quarters. And of course I love being at the game, and I have a bit of a quandary about whether games should be being played in the middle of a pandemic like this, but that's what's happening, and I know a lot of people have been getting some benefit from it in terms of having something to watch, something to enjoy again, and I completely understand that. But for me, it's been strange to be here in an empty stadium with no passion, with no fans, with just the shouting of the players, etc. And for those who wish that they were here today, I understand that, because obviously it's been a good experience for me, but it isn't what you think it is. It's not the football that we love. I didn't come down with anybody in the car today. I wasn't spending time with friends. There wasn't any of the banter before and after the game, and now it'll be a solo drive back to Manchester again. Let's hope that football returns with crowds again, certainly next season, or maybe before the end of this season. But in the meantime, all I can say is that keep safe, fingers crossed that the vaccine works. But I hope this has given you a little flavour of what it's like to come down and watch a City first team game behind closed doors. Very, very different than watching football in a full stadium.
Alguém está com o